Let's call the meeting to order at 6:30. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome. Roll call, please.
Trustee Berman?
Here.
Trustee Blueberg?
Here.
Trustee McNeil?
Here.
Trustee Pierce?
Present.
Here.
Trustee Peterson?
Present.
Mayor Gardner?
Present. All the trustees are here, so we have a mayoral report to start. A lot of different days and events coming up. We have National Women's History Month this month. International Women's Day passed. That was the 8th of March. Ramadan started the 10th and is ongoing. We have St. Patrick's Day on the 17th and a run this weekend. If anybody still wants to sign up, there's still space. And World Down Syndrome Day on the 21st of March. And I also just want to acknowledge, I didn't say this last time, that Dennis Downs, who is involved heavily in the community and did the statue here, he passed away recently. So just want to recognize that. So we have some cheerleaders here again, huh? Yeah. Cheerleaders come here a lot. You guys have a hold on this thing. Every year they're back here. You got to work on some of those other teams too a little bit. So I have 3 teams here that I believe are either state champions or or runners up. So the first one I have is the Pee Wee first place ICA state champions, the 4A. Who's that? Stand up. All right, come up here if you're on this team. Come up here if you're on the team. All right. So where did you guys go to compete? What town were you at? Come on. DeKalb. Okay. So what cheer won the whole thing? You know? All right. Well, you're gonna have to do it real quick while you're here. Okay. You actually got to do it. Yep.
Hear it.
You need more room? All right. Well, do one that you can do while you're standing right here. Do you have another one you can do?
Everybody's filming you.
No pressure. Yep. Yep. All right. Who's gonna call out which cheer it is? All right. All right. Let's see it.
Are here now. One team, one drink, and we've only just begun. Stand in your path, it's time to get loud. We are Antioch, ABC. We are like to win and show you form. Antioch, fighting the settle for the score.
Hey, good job. All right, let me see your medal. Show me your medal. Someone show me your medal. Oh wow, who's your coach? Well, make sure your coach stands up too. All right, congratulations. If you want a picture, bring your coach up here and take a picture, and then we'll do the other groups. Yep. All right. Yep. There you go.
Over here, 1, 2, 3. Wait, let me get the full board on here. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. All right, now we're gonna get the other team up here. All right, congratulations. What grade are all you girls in? 4th. Okay. All right, stick around for the next one. We have the next group is the featherweight first place ICA state champion 5A small division. Where's that group? All right, come on up. Congratulations. Oh, you guys got a trophy with you too, huh? Look at that.
Wow.
All right, and who's your coach? Right here. All right, congratulations. So where did you guys? You're in DeKalb also? Okay, and you guys, I'm assuming, are 5th graders or 6th graders? Okay, 1 year older. All right, you know what I'm going to ask you, right? You gotta do a cheer. So pick one that you can do in this little space. Ready?
Back again, you've seen us before. Antioch, Vikings, taking the floor. Cardinal and black, our colors stand true. Ready to win, we're coming for you. Nothing less, we strive to the top. The best of the best, we can't be stopped. VIKINGS, fearless, feathers above the rest. Vikings.
All right, good job. They even and you guys even fought off the giggles. That's good. All right. You got to take a picture with your coach and your trophy. Someone's got to hold the trophy here in front. All right. Say cheese.
Or that includes you too.
You're on TV. You're on TV too. All right. Congratulations. All right. All right. We have one more group. We have the Antioch Viking Cheers second place champions, which are JV Cardinals, the seventh graders. Where are the seventh graders? They're really going to be the shy ones that want to come. Where are the seventh graders? Are they here? A couple of them. Okay. Hey, come on up. I knew you'd be the shy ones that want to come up here. All right. Oh, hey, how are you? Good. All right. So, tell us a little bit about your you have the same competition, DeKalb? All right. And is this your whole group? Just the three of you? Or is there more? The other ones are too cool to come? Yeah. I have an 8th grade daughter, so I understand. All right, well, the three you're gonna have to yell really loud for this cheer. So you don't remember it? Who's the coach? All right. All right, ready? I'll count to 3. Any cheer. You can do the shortest one in your repertoire if you want.
Go team, go.
Get the chief of police up.
You ready? All right. Yeah, sure. All right. Ready? Should I count to 3? Oh, we.
Oh, big,
Yeah. All right. Well, we get the picture. I get it.
Hard when there's.
All right. Hey, don't forget your trophy. All right. Well, thank you for coming in. Oh yeah, picture, guys. Come on, at least a picture. Yeah. All right, turn up. Caitlin, I'm gonna call your dad and tell him here. All right. Well, you guys don't have to stick around for the boring part of the meetings, but I expect Anastasia's and Dairy Queen and Culver's to be really crowded after this. So, all right. See you guys later.
Birthday
Congratulations. Earlier today, we did get to see Attorney Kelly do a mighty nice cheer move.
Oh, he did?
I think you should have him get up and do it.
Don't do that. That's cool.
Mary, has anyone signed up?
No.
That's our first win.
That's awesome.
Nice to see you.
Little room
clear.
I am going Saturday, and it's just a matter of what time we're determining. We have shower.
Kenzie, getting close.
So we might have to.
Definitely gonna walk.
Let me get there. Probably have to leave by 11. Learn how to do it without a fan.
I'm sitting here drinking hot coffee. All right. We have nobody signed up for addressing the board, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 7 items on the consent agenda. Is there any request from any of the trustees to remove any of those items?
Number
Trustee
3.
Pierce,
Remove item number 3, please.
item number 3. I have a motion for trustee Pierce to remove item 3. Do I have a second? No,
You don't need
you
it.
don't need it. Okay. All right, item 3 is moved to the regular business. Any other requests for any of the items? All right, so we're gonna vote on items 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Roll call. A motion, do I have a motion?
Have a motion to approve.
Motion trustee, Luthart,
Second.
second trustee McNeil. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Aye.
Mason.
Yes.
All right, we have 6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item, we'll move item 3 is approval of a resolution approving an extension of the special use for consumed cannabis, AKA Consume Antioch, for an additional 6 months for the property commonly known as 453 Main Street, resolution number 24-15. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee
Second.
Luthart, second trustee Peterson. Any discussion on this item or you just want to update? Okay,
I'm fine.
okay. Roll call, please.
Berman,
No.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 4 voting yes, motion carried. Next is consideration and approval of a payment of accounts payable as prepared by staff at the amount of $1,465,307.84. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee McNeil, second trustee Berman. Any questions or discussions on this item? Do you want to highlight the ones over?
Yeah.
Okay.
we good. Thank you.
Jeff, you highlight the ones over 10.
So 1.2 million of it is TIF reimbursements for the Antioch Corporate Park. And the invoice is over 10. There was a $17,000, 303 invoice for the capital project across the street. There was our dispatch services, which was 26,274. There was some metal barricades that we purchased in advance of our parades as part of our new security protocols that we're implementing. That was 10,263. There's the 250,475 TIF payment to Fisher. 971, 356.22 to Handy Foil. $26,748 in interest and principal payments for squad payments. $22,874 to Illinois Public Risk Fund. $14,330 to Lake County, Illinois Prevention Bureau for $14,330. And for Placer Labs, $12,000 for the monitoring software that month.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Aye.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Michael, before we move on to the next one, do you know when the handy foil recap or payment ends? How many more years we have left on the handy foil?
Handy foil, the guards are, I think it's towards the end of the actual TIF.
Okay, okay,
Double
just,
check.
just curious. All right, thank you. Next is consideration and approval of an ordinance formally adopting the zoning map effective March 1st, 2024 for the village of Antioch. Ordinance number 24-03-18. Do I have a motion and a second waiving the second reading?
So moved.
Motion trustee.
Waiving the second reading.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil. Any discussion on this? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Aye.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. All right, number 10, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the acting village administrator to sign the proposal and execute a contract with Municipal Well and Pump for repairs on well 7 in the amount up to $96,720, resolution number 24-18. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee
Second.
McNeil, second trustee Berman. Any discussion or questions on this item? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the village administrator to execute a contract with Mad Bomber Fireworks Productions to provide the annual fireworks show for the village of Antioch in the amount of $38,000 for July 4th, 2024. Resolution number 24-19. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Berman,
Second.
second trustee Peterson, and I believe for the record, it's the same amount as last year, correct? All right. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Pierce?
Aye.
Peterson?
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of an ordinance adding one Class B and one Class C tobacco license for NA Smoke Shops, Inc., DBA Puff Zone Smoke Shop to be located at 417 West Illinois Route 173, Unit 111, ordinance number 23-03-19. Do I have a motion and a second, either waiving or not waiving the first reading?
So moved, waiving the second reading.
Sorry. Yeah.
Second.
Motion trustee Bluthart, second trustee Berman. All right, so we do have, this is coming back from the cow meeting. I know the property owners and the leasing agents and the owner are present. There was a item in the packet. So if there's any questions or discussions, they're here to answer those questions. Is there anything from the board on this?
Just for the record.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to get clarification on what the difference between a Class B and a Class C license is, if we get that just for the record.
Class B is the retail tobacco license where their main product is tobacco products. It's a primary tobacco retailer, and Class C is for e-cigarettes and vaping.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anything from the board? All right, then I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
Mason,
No.
Peterson,
No.
Mayor Gardner.
No. 4 voting no, motion carried. No. All right, next is item 13, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the additional costs associated with the open space development at Main Street and Orchard Street related to the relocation of utilities in the amount of $20,745.50. Resolution number 24-20. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil,
Second.
second trustee Berman. Any discussion on this item?
They've been working hard. I've seen their trucks
AT&T.
moving
And
stuff everywhere.
And Director Heimbrodt told me that this is an amount that's an up to. There may be some credits coming back for some things that were in the original bid that they did not do, correct?
Correct, yeah. They originally presented, back in the fall, an estimate. They're not, like ComEd and Comcast. They provided an estimate, which then we signed, which creates somewhat of a contract. When they went to install the underground conduit, they ran into some, of the new utilities that were put in by Comcast, creating conflicts where they had to bring in, different equipment that they didn't intend to. There is some items within that new estimate that they're not utilizing, so I'm hoping that that $20,000 will be reduced when the actual invoice comes.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an interim village administrator employment agreement for the Village of Antioch, resolution number 24-21. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Bluthart.
Second.
Second trustee McNeil. Any discussion on this item? Going once, going twice. All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason.
Yeah.
Peterson,
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Administrator reports. Officially, administrator reports.
So just very briefly, we continue to have our weekly construction meetings for the open space project. Our team is working on making some slight modifications to the current design relative to the splash pad. The current design does not call for any type of actuator bollard to control the flow on and off of the water feature itself. So in the near future, we hope to come to the board with a recommendation that we consider a change order to address that issue. Staff continues to work on the budget. The operational budget continues to look good. As with anything, there's some ebbs and flows as new things are identified, and we're making significant progress on the capital budget. So we hope to bring that to the board in the very near future. We continue to work on the Brown Road project. The developer recently had a meeting with the residents that live in the back, and it seems that they've worked out an agreeable solution to allow those residents to have access in and out during the construction of the Kia dealership. Relative to the Kia dealership, recently had a pre-construction meeting where we gave approval for them to start doing some land clearing. So they're installing silt fencing, and they're going to be able to start clearing trees hopefully next week to get the Kia project moving. As you know, we recently went out for a request for qualifications and proposal for a construction management firm to provide services for the village hall and for the public works project. We did receive 5 responses to those. Staff is in the early process of reviewing those, and we hope to identify those we want to interview in the very near future and come to the board with a recommendation. We continue to work through some of the issues with the delay claim with Bowler relative to some of their claim delays on the project. We're making good headway, and the relationship with the contractor remains strong. For the parades that are upcoming, based on some feedback that we've received from a couple members of the board relative to the logistics of how that works, Director Quilty is going to be coordinating moving forward, starting with the Easter Parade, a village vehicle for the trustees to use if they wish. That'll take some of the last minute planning that I think happens at times, or some uncertainty of where you guys are gonna meet. You certainly have the opportunity to use your own floats or vehicles if you wish, and we will typically place those right behind the village trustee vehicle to allow you some simplicity in this. And then we did have our first meeting with the FOP today for collective bargaining. The meeting was well. It was a good collaborative spirit, and we hope to make good progress on that. If there's any questions from the board, that'll conclude my report.
Any
I do have
questions?
One quick question about, this is the 4th of July parade, but I know that we had mentioned, something was mentioned about the construction with the parking lot at the high school. Have we figured out what we're doing yet or anything in regards to that?
No, we're still in the early process with that. We're not entirely certain what the scope of the construction is going to look like during the 4th of July parade. We may have the ability to utilize some of that parking lot just in a limited scope, but we do continue to consider alternatives on how to address any problems that we do have. So we do have regular planning meetings, particularly for that parade since the size of it's so large. So we plan to be able to be ready prepared.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
On the new building they're building right there in the open space development, I forget, maybe it's my old age, were we putting a little cupola on the top of it, or was that removed at some time in the cost savings procedures?
Yes, I did talk to Dennis about that after the question was raised, and it was proposed as an alternate for the building, but ultimately the alternate was not selected as part of the scope of the project.
All right, I just wanted to, had a couple of people ask me. So.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you. Village clerk, any report?
Root has scheduled the spring cleanup day for this year on April 25th.
Thank you. Then we have departments, community development. Director Garrigan.
Thank you. I just wanted to advise the board that a new proposed Starbucks at the just basically on Route 59 south of the ACE hardware has been scheduled for the planning commission in April. They're requesting a site plan review and special use for the drive-through. So we anticipate that will be coming before the board probably either in the second meeting in April or first meeting in May. With regards to the marketplace property, we continue to have discussions with IDOT. We did forward them a letter in support from the village. We anticipate scheduling a meeting related to the proposed Route 173 improvements. What are the necessary improvements concurrent with that proposed project? We anticipate that hopefully a meeting with IDOT in the near future, hopefully within the next month. With respect to actual engineering, it appears that the marketplace engineering is very close to being approved. Obviously, the Kia engineering has been approved, subject to the village administrator's update as it relates to the proposed clearing of the site, which you'll see in the next few weeks. With regards to the other development, we continue to work with the marketplace on 4 existing outlots. I've been in contact with 2 of the other end users, so it looks like there is real interest that you'll be seeing those proposed outlots hopefully within the next 3 months, 4 months potentially. With regards to the CarMax, I wanted to advise the board that the CarMax was being proposed, a distribution maintenance center for the Antioch Industrial Park. They did withdraw their application. They're continuing to do due diligence on that site. In fact, we are actually having a meeting tomorrow with our engineers to discuss some additional due diligence questions. Whether that proceeds with the concept plan for the village, for the planning commission, will depend on their due diligence completion. And with respect to the Plowen property, again, that's a property just adjacent to the Menards project. I've been in contact with the owners of that property. We continue to discuss development, but also moreover, some of the access issues. I've been in contact with one of the property owners who has some interest and willingness to work with the village. And the other property owner, Mr. Hieronymus, did pass away this week. So we'll continue to work with the Hieronymus family on that property. With that, I'll conclude my staff report.
Any questions for Mr. Garrigan? All right, thank you. Next is finance. Zeta's not here this evening, so we'll move past that one. And then the police update. Commander Smith, welcome.
Good evening, board and elected officials. I'd like to give you an update on our recruits at the academy. Patrick Conrad, we learned was selected as a class leader for his class, so we're pretty excited about that. And we're anticipating their graduation date of April 26th to be no problem. So if you see some new officers, please say hi and stop by the police department, have some coffee with them or not. Currently, our staff is 30 sworn. However, our strength in deployment is 28. Just circle back to the last board meeting, we talked about the overdose. We were able to secure that second warrant for the drug-induced homicide, and we made that arrest, and it was a successful arrest at O'Hare Airport and took him to Lake County Jail. To talk about the recent rash of car and dealership burglaries. The car burglaries that had occurred last week, this is a sophisticated crew. It's not from our area. We recognize in 2 of the vehicles, the steering column was actually stripped and the vehicles were hot wired. Typically, we haven't seen this. Usually it's from vehicles with keys in the car. The one Dodge that was stolen, the resident was warming up her vehicle to go bring her children outside, and that's when it was taken from her driveway. However, right as it was taken, our officers had came into the area and blocked them in. The suspects ditched that stolen vehicle, hopped into the other stolen vehicle along with another Jeep, narrowly missing one of our squads as we tried to block them in. Our officers pursued that vehicle until it got to the downtown area where it reached speeds of 80 miles to an hour to 100. At that point, it was too much of a risk to the public, so our Sergeant Marsh made the right decision to discontinue the pursuit. We loosened our pursuit policy with Chief Gutchow. However, we're not going to put the public at risk for property. As far as the dealership that was broken into earlier this week, a Dodge Durango SRT was stolen from inside the Sally Port of the Antioch Dodge dealership. And then a Kia Stinger was actually stolen inside the Sally Port of the Kia Raymond across the street from the Chevy dealership. They broke out the little windows in the Sally Port, and that's how they got into the businesses. We recovered the Kia Stinger, the Cook County state line. They ditched it. The check engine light came on. And that was a resident who had their vehicle in there for service that was stolen, so the keys were inside that vehicle. The other Dodge Durango SRT we're currently tracking. It's been hitting on flock cameras and Guardian and Vigilant cameras, LPRs, license plate readers, in the Harvey, Alsip area. Unfortunately, that vehicle, as of about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, was used in some burglaries in Pleasant Prairie, Glencoe, and then Highland Park. So that car we're still currently tracking and working with our Chicagoland partners to do a geolocate on the LPRs to see where they're coming from, where they're going to, so we can establish a pattern, start having some teams out there infiltrate that area. This is another crew. Fortunately, the owner of the Kia Stinger had a dash camera, which was activated upon the suspects turning it on. It is a forward-facing camera, but it did pick up audio. And on the audio, this is a crew that is actually working for somebody else. So these folks are definitely not from our area. They're from the south side of Chicago. So we're actively still trying to get that Dodge back and identify these guys. Any questions with that before I move on? A flock camera update. We're still waiting for the IDOT approved poles to put the cameras on. We have the cameras and we anticipate that they'll be in stock April 8th. We're looking forward to that. And we're 5 of 150 sites still waiting for these poles. Those will come in great hand when we get these in. So just as an example, what we would do is the Dodge that was stolen, our officers, our detectives, Detective Kumpel and Nemec, went through 1,200 photos of flock and vigilant cameras through Chicago that was provided to us, and we found an Antioch Dodge sticker that we were able to identify, and we learned that they put a stolen license plate on that. So now that plate has been entered into all the camera systems in the Chicagoland area and Lake County. So if it comes into contact, it's going to alert those officers. That's why we cannot wait for these cameras to get in place. As far as training, Officer Zamora has been certified by the American Red Cross to instruct and provide CPR training, which now is a required state mandate by the Safety Act law. So we're going to be able to do that all through in-house instead of having to outsource that. We've also recently conducted high-risk patrol operations, which is another component of the mandatory training that's set by the Safety Act. Sergeant Bruce Sally, through his NIPUS, has been able to be certified as an instructor through the state, so we're blessed to have that. Our records department continues to attend the meetings with the Lake County Consolidated Records Management System. That's going to go live on April 16th. We expect there may be some technical difficulties, but that won't have any operational problems. It's still old-fashioned. 911 call goes into dispatch, and the police radio goes off, and we respond. It's more of a computer technical system inside the squad. As you can see from our Facebook page and updates from Chief Gutschall, Antioch has been hosting a lot of training for NIPUS, the SWAT team inside of our jurisdiction, as well as some MCAT. And we also held the Lake County Detective meeting here in our station. This is just a testament to our reputation among our law enforcement partners, and we continue to strengthen those ties as we keep inviting them into our jurisdiction. We are also happy to announce that we've assigned 2 officers to the Elias Mobile Field Force. That's the Illinois Law Enforcement Emergency Agency. That their region is 4 north, so basically Cook County all the way up here. So they have a very expansive area to cover. However, it's a task force for crowd control, riot control, protests. Lessons learned from the Ida Avenue parties that got out of hand. We have identified as a police department that we need some more additional training. So these 2 officers are going to be certified in crowd control tactics, how to contain, isolate, negotiate situations. And their training is actually covered. It's a week-long academy they have to attend, and ILEAS covers that cost, so there's no cost to the village. There's no questions. That concludes. Otherwise, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
All right, thank you. All right, trustee reports. Let's start on this end if there's anything. Anything on this end? Trustee report?
Is it on the,
You have his,
just so everybody knows, this week, or the end of last week, as I was returning from Southern Illinois, I drove by Mantino, and they had a public works facility is right off 57. It has a nice, beautiful green lit up sign. I first thought it was a cannabis distribution facility because it was such a pretty little sign on it. And so then I looked into what it was, and it turned out to be their public works department they had just built. So I stopped in and I asked the gentleman from that ran the place, their director of public works, if I could see the building and tour around it. And he actually gave me plans for the building. Took me all around. I thought next he was going to ask me if I wanted to go get beer. So he was very hospitable and very nice. And it was just something as a reference point for me to see. And so I wanted to share it with the rest of the board, so I threw together a quick PowerPoint. I don't know if it's very good or not, but it helps me explain what I saw. So, we all know they presented to us a current public plan for a public works that we reviewed, and we saw the cost of that. But the baseline of that is our current public works is very decrepit, and it's unsafe for our workers. It's reached that point where we need to move them out. And our team members are facing unhealthy conditions almost every day when they're in there. So we need to plan. And so what we saw originally was a really nice plan. Talking to the people in Manteno, they've seen places like that with mezzanines and stuff. That wasn't their choice, but they said they're very functional. So we need to look at all aspects, and this is just one aspect, because we know we can do better for our public works team members and for the village. So this just says we were presented with a plan that was approximately, by the time we got done, $15 million, which probably included moving utilities and everything else, which is around $2 million, I've been told. So we sent that back and said, let's revisit this and look at it. So if you could move to, if the cost is too much, and I personally feel it is, but this gives me a comparison, and we may look at the more higher costs to get a better benefit from it, but we just need to be able to compare them. So we can either look at what other communities have done, which this is an example, and they had a list of other communities also there that we could look at. But we need to be innovative and find ways to save money, because we have a limited pool and we've got a lot of projects we got to get done. And if we can find ways to save money on this, maybe we can get more done for the village. This is what their public works looks like. It's a metal construction building. It's a huge pole barn. I think they said it was around 40,000 square feet. But it has offices in it. It has break rooms, and it's got a huge footprint that it sits on with driveways and parking lots and a big salt barn on the back. If you would move to the next one. This was just looking down their hallway. So on the inside, it looks like a normal building, the way they built it out. And there's a hallway there and a conference room where they have their planning meetings. And that was actually the plans he gave me. He's got spread out on the table there. This is inside the building. They also had 6 snow plows parked in there that you can't see, and they're the big snow plows. So there's a lot of room inside this building, and no matter what type of construction we choose, we need to have room like this. And this was just a picture of their maintenance bay. They did tell me they wish they'd added 10 feet more in the distance in there so that they could get the big trucks in with the snow plows on them. As it is now, they have to take the snow plows off their big trucks to get them in there and do their maintenance. So there are things you have to think about. This is their salt barn. And if you look in front of the salt barn, they've got a fuel facility that they can fuel their trucks with. And this is the picture on the right is their break room. It looks much nicer. They've got vending machines in there. They've got a coffee machine in there. And it just looks much more comfortable than the one we've got right now, where if they back their chair up, they're going to probably knock down a wall. And then the other room is a maintenance room that they've got set up to do maintenance. And this is just another picture showing part of it where they're storing all their yard tools. They've got them all stacked neatly on the wall. And they've got their barricades all stacked in one building. This is all in one building. It's just a lot of space. And this is what we need to be doing for public works, one way or the other. And this was a storage area within the same building where they're storing supplies. I did not get a picture of their 350 United States flags that they had all neatly in holders that they put out during the summertime, but it was pretty impressive in there. They even got a Zamboni there. I asked them, what do you got a Zamboni here for? And they have a ice skating rink that they maintain. So they bought themselves a little Zamboni. They paid $8 million for this, which is not 10 million, but if we had to put it where we currently propose, by the time it would probably be 10 or 11 million dollars with the construction cost and the difference in pricing up here. Plus we have to do utilities and fix the road and get everything going on Grim Road. There are fuel tanks there. They told me with the installation of the fuel tanks, they save 75 cents a gallon and on the gas. So they came out ahead in the end on just the fuel tanks alone. But I just wanted to share this with everybody so we can think of ways to build something for our public works because we need it. And if Lori could share this out with the rest of the board members so they can look at the picture closer. I'm not saying this is what we need, but we need to be looking at all sorts of examples of what we can do. And this is, to me, was a fairly impressive example.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
Well, it doesn't fit our ordinance. We had tinted windows, we gave them all kinds of garbage. We gave Starbucks all kinds of garbage. And now we're gonna set an example to put a pole barn up. We made them spend and go back to the bank 5-6 times. And we're gonna put a pole barn up? It's insane. You make them spend the money and we're not gonna spend the money. I hear what you're saying, but you're making them put fences up, tree stuff up, and we're gonna put a pole barn up. Everybody complained about what's coming into the building, and you present a pole barn. And you made tinted windows come back 6 times and you sat here and you said, nope, it's gotta be this brick front, it's gotta be this. And you sat there, and I know gosh darn well Starbucks, and we can't do it, but we can't sit there and say, we're gonna downgrade our ordinances so we can fit ours in, and everybody else did this, a different structure. They had to do brick fascia. They had to do this. The church out on 173. Can't do that. Just, it doesn't make sense. You're asking to change the ordinance. How do you do that? I get you took the pictures. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit our ordinance. Right, Mike?
It's a point of where, are we allowed to discuss this issue or not?
I mean,
I-
we're not making a decision tonight.
But it wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah, it's
Wasn't
not,
on the
yeah, it's not on the
agenda.
agenda.
So it was not on the agenda. I was just reporting
Sure.
what I
Yeah.
saw and to respond to trustee Masick, I'm just looking at all the options. This may not be the answer.
Sure.
It may be the answer. There's all
Yeah,
sorts of
we-
ways.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for the guys that had to go get extra loans, and now you wanna sit and
Well,
say,
well,
we're gonna change
we'll-
our ways.
We'll discuss, we'll get to some heavy design stuff coming up here, but now that we get the construction managers, we'll move to that next phase on this too. And there's another guy here that might know about this type of building and the facades on these buildings too, huh? All right. Yeah. Any other
Oh, you got a pole barn, didn't
yeah,
you?
any other reports? Any other reports? And you better have a PowerPoint or you're gonna look bad.
No problem, but I'd like to thank trustee Pierce for presenting that because that's what's gonna be needed on this and a bunch of issues moving forward is us to think outside the box and work together to come up with some solutions to these. And because that's how we're gonna get all these projects done that we need to get done. So thank you, Scott, for presenting that and taking the time to meet with them. And no, nothing's perfect. That might not be the perfect solution, but it's a different solution, and that's what we need to do. We need to look at all options.
Scott, will you get the, heard you mentioned like names of other towns that maybe they had some research on? You got that? Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, anything else? Otherwise, motion to adjourn?
So move.
Trustee, okay, so, motion
Vote,
trustee
Dean.
Peterson,
Second.
second trustee Masick.
Yes.
We're all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned. We will start the committee of the whole meeting in 5 minutes.
Before you talk.
All right, call the meeting to order at 7:25. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Trustee Pierce?
Present.
Trustee Mason?
Here.
Trustee Peterson?
Present.
Mayor Gurke?
Present. All right, mayoral reports. I will be out of town for spring break for the parade and the the meeting on the 27th. So I know the clerk has put it out there. I have no problem leaving the meeting on the 27th. Just one of the other trustees will have to be the chair of that meeting, or we can move it to the Monday, or we move it to Monday. I'm leaning towards just leaving it on the 27th or canceling it if that's what you guys, if we don't have stuff on the agenda. But is there any feeling from the board? Just want to keep it the 27th and move forward? Leave it, yeah, leave it the 27th.
I can't make Monday, but I'm okay.
Okay, well, let's just leave it, let's just leave it the 27th.
Leave it as is.
Yep. You guys won't get to, it'll probably be a fast meeting. All right, yeah, just leave it the 27th. No citizens wishing to address the board. Now we have regular business is approval of the February 14th, 2024 committee, the whole meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee
Second.
McNeil, second trustee Berman. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Abstain.
Neil,
Yes.
Pierce,
Aye.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
5 voting yes, 1 abstention, motion carries. All right, first item on the regular business is, our second, is discussion regarding a concept plan for an assisted living facility located at 991 East Illinois Route 173. 3 individuals here to present, including Mr. Garrigan, Tahir Khan, William Dozier, Avi Veer, and I think some are on Zoom, so.
Yes,
Floor is yours.
Your Honor. This matter comes before the village board tonight for a concept. Again, to refresh your memory, the concept is really kind of an informal discussion. We talk about the proposed use. Obviously, if there is support, this would obviously go before the planning commission and village board for a full site plan review and special use. All assisted living facilities, the property is R1. All assisted living facilities require a special use in the R1 district. The property is adjacent to a existing Red Wing subdivision on Route 173. It's approximately a little less than 6 acres. The applicant is, again, conceptually proposing a approximately 65,000 square foot single-story assisted living facility, which will be located on the 6 acres of property. Again, the applicant is proposing approximately 90 single bed rooms as part of this facility. I believe representatives of the applicant are actually here this evening. They can walk the board. If there's any questions relating to the actual operations of the facility, they can walk the board through that. Again, as I've already stated, all assisted living facilities are one special use. The applicant has over the past number of months has had extensive discussions with the residents of the Red Wing subdivision. I know there were some residents who had main concerns about this proposal. I know the applicant did meet with the residents. Staff did not attend that meeting, but the applicant is actually here this evening to provide a summary. I believe perhaps there's still some residents who do not support this. I don't know the actual breakdown, but there were extensive discussions. That's not atypical. As you know, many times a developer will reach out to the adjacent resident to try to address their concerns. If you actually look at the site plan, actually here have this evening, major modifications were made. Specifically, the most important one, there was a proposed stub street that was going to connect to this 5 acres or 6 acres. The applicant has removed that pursuant to the express concerns of the residents. So the main access, the only access to this proposed 6 acre property would be on 173. In addition, the applicant did try to address the residents' concerns by adding extensive landscaping and buffering adjacent to the backyards of single family homes. So again, staff and more importantly, the applicant is just looking for some input from the village board of whether there will be support for this type of use. And obviously, if there is general support, the applicant would proceed with applying for a site plan and special use. And with that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the village board has. Again, the applicant is actually here, I believe on Zoom. Representative is here in the audience to answer any questions as it relates to proposed operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions on this end? Trina, you have anything on this?
Yeah.
Wait, okay. Trustee Bluthart?
I don't know if they're necessarily questions, but just some comments. I attended the meeting that they had at the library with the residents. And it was, the residents that attended had some concerns. I hope that you've listened to those concerns and take those into consideration as you move forward. But one of the things that they brought up, and I just wanted to bring it up tonight, was the critter problem, or they're concerned about once you start construction about any rodents or things like that, getting towards the houses. And I would just like to bring that up because that was brought up by 2 or 3 different residents at that meeting and seemed to be a big topic of discussion. So I'd like to see you address that as we move forward. I think it's well needed in our area. I think it's something that we, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be 6 or 7 houses backing right up to it, but there's nothing we can do about that. But I think you've made some adjustments with your landscape plan, and if you continue to work with the residents and we don't, in regards to their concerns, I would have no problem with this moving forward.
Thank you.
Just
Trustee
comment.
McNeil, yep.
Yeah, I'm in support. I appreciate that you're hearing the residents' concerns and making adjustments because I know it's hard when you've got that beautiful open space to look at and now it's something new and different. But I really like the plan because to me, I see this as sort of an extended residence. You know, it is residential. It doesn't have an institutional feel or a hospital look. It's single story. It's well designed. And I've gone through this with my own parent, and he was at the Bickford and Gurney and had a very similar look. And it also was adjacent to a neighborhood, as are others. I've done research. There's one in Vernon Hills that flows very nicely with the neighborhood. So I think that the Red Wing and this facility can coexist. So yes, as long as we stay on track with the landscape plans and things like that, I'm in support. I think it's much needed. And I wish you were here when I had to go through this with my own parents. It would have been so nice to have them close to home. So those are my comments.
All right. How about this side of the board?
Currently, I'm waiting to see what planning and zoning says. I'd like to have their input. And my other concern is the traffic flow.
Just for clarification, respectfully, this did go before the plan commission as a concept only, and there was, I think the vote was 4-2. It's in the staff report, but there was, I think there were 2 people who did not support it, but the majority of the planning commission did support it. It was, I think, back in the summer, back in August, was some time ago. But the concept did go before the plan commission. As you well know, all concepts go before the plan commission before they come to the village board.
Thank you.
It was pretty agile.
Any other?
Also, just a second, I'm not through. Confirm they just did a concept plan with planning and zoning, correct?
That's correct.
They did not get their hearing. They did not do their
No, for the record, there was no special use or site plan applied for. Again, the applicant's just looking for feedback if there's any support before they submit full site plan and special use applications.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Masek?
So this has a lot of work for planning and zoning to really think about because this is gonna put a drag on our EMS system. So this is gonna bring 50% more ambulance calls than what we have just by math. This is also going to put a strain on what we get as far as income from these calls. So what we get from Medicare is what, $350? So depends, right? It depends.
All right, hold on. Just so we're having the conversation, just because it's on the record. If
Right.
you are going to
So
testify,
there's
just run to the
less
microphone.
funding than private insurance. We'll just call it that. So the amount of calls, the problem with this facility, and it's nice that it'd be in our community. The problem is with this facility, it's 2 hours away from a hospital. And when I mean 2 hours away from a hospital, that's round trip for a paramedic. 1 hour with the patient there in the hospital time and return of that ambulance. It's roughly about 2 hours. So you take an ambulance out of service, so it's going to be more manpower, more squads being ordered. It's a lot more than just build a building. The math all day long is 50% more calls within our town, just with the senior housing in a village. So whatever our call count is there, 50% more.
Thank you. Trustee Peterson?
Michael, this property is adjacent to single-family homes.
Correct.
Different zoning? for this
Same
property?
zoning,
Same zoning,
same exact zoning.
even though it's multi, a lot of people living. How many people are gonna live in this assisted living?
Again, I believe that applicant, he may be, correct me if I'm wrong, my recollection was to be 91 single bedrooms. That's based on my notes from the planning commission.
In the backyard of single-family homes?
Yes, again, for the record, a special use is assisted living facility is a special use in the R1. There are certain uses, special assisted living facilities, churches, which are what we call special uses in the R1 district, is quite frequent from a land use planning perspective. They're often adjacent to single family neighbors, but because they potentially have they could have potentially some negative externalities on single family. That's why they're special use. And that's why they require, from a zoning perspective, a special use. They're not a permitted use per se. So that's why they're special use. But correct, there would be 91 bedroom units within this facility.
Okay, so we would have to grant them a special use,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But if someone bought this property and wanted to develop it for single-family homes, that's
Correct. We still have to come in for platting.
right, of course, and you know, stormwater management and all of that, but
There'll be no special
use.
unless they did a PUD. If they did a PUD or were asking for relief, you would consider that as
And how many acres is this?
approximately a little less than 6.
Okay. I've got some reservations. I'm just letting you know, I've got big reservations about this.
Okay.
And I feel for those people who live out there. I don't know if this is the right spot for it. We could find a different area. Yes, we do need assisted living, absolutely, but maybe this isn't the right place for it. That's how I feel.
Before I go on, just because we don't take public comment at this point of the meeting, is there an individual that's involved in this project? What's his name? Sam Martin, is he involved?
Yeah, my name is Sam Martin. I'm the Vice President of Build Senior Living. I'm in partnership with Oasis Senior Living. And I just want to address a couple of your concerns that you just currently brought up. First of all, we are self-contained. So what that means is we will have care staff in the building 24/7. So we do our own care. So as far as the ambulance goes, we build several of these all over the country. And they usually average about 6 to 9 ambulance visits every 90 days. And usually they're non-emergency, so they won't be running their lights and sirens when they come in. And then as far as you mentioned about Medicare or Medicaid, it is all private pay. It's something that we don't have any insurances or any low income or anything to that effect that will be moving into this building either. As far as the size and the area of it, what's really nice is this is a 1-story building. So in conjunction with the neighbors, one of the things that was one of the concerns was they would like a berm around the building to kind of raise the landscaping a little bit, so it'd be a little bit nicer on the eyes. And if this did turn into like a development for homes, you're going to see 2-story homes go up, and you would be able to see those in someone's backyard, where this here is just a 1-story building, which makes it really nice as well too.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? I'll go around one more time. Any other questions from anybody?
No questions, but just
Yeah,
a
Mrs.
comment.
McNeil, yep.
If anyone wants to, I found it helpful to visit some of these facilities that are similar, because I too probably would have thought, oh, high traffic and lots of things, but really my experience has been very peaceful. Not a lot of people in and out. So I just don't have any objection to that part of it. I just wanted to throw that out there. I spent a lot of time at care facilities, unfortunately.
Trustee Bluthart?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention, and since we have the fire chief here in the audience, that if the fire department does have any objection to this, that I wish they would come to a public hearing and speak on those issues in regards to any objection that they have with this project.
Good. All right. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it seems like should continue to move forward based on what I'm hearing. So thank you for being here. Next item is item number 3, annexation and preliminary final plat of unincorporated parcels located at 22950 West Route, Illinois 173, Brown LLC.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This matter comes before the board this evening, more for actually a housekeeping matter. As you all know, we are in the mid-process, actually a public hearing is scheduled for our TIF for the marketplace property. We're actually working, as you know, with major commercial users, obviously new Kia dealerships going on this property. Pursuant to state statute, because this property has been under cultivation, approximately 82 acres has been under cultivation for the past 5 years, state statute does require that the property be platted or re-subdivided. So it's more of a housekeeping matter. So the applicant is requesting this evening a preliminary and final plat for 3 parcels. There's one parcel, which is the new Kia dealership, obviously approximately 8 acres where the Kia dealership is being proposed or constructed. There's also another parcel which will contain Brown Road, which will eventually be fully dedicated to the village. That will be a future village road. And then the balance, approximately 62 acres, is just being subdivided as a holding area that will be obviously be subdivided between commercial properties. As outlots come in, each outlot will be subdivided and future development towards the lake. So the first aspect of this proposed project is a preliminary and final plat approval. The second plat, again, is housekeeping. When we actually did a full investigation, there appears to be 2 small slivers, as you can see on our map here, 2 very small slivers, less than 1/3 of an acre, that for some reason were not incorporated. They're not incorporated in the Village of Antioch. They still show to be unincorporated. They're literally right in the middle of the proposed project. So what we're proposing this evening is those parcels be annexed. Going through the process, there was no plat of annexation, unfortunately, that was filed when this property, with the marketplace property, was originally annexed. So we are requesting just for housekeeping to clean that up, to annex those little slivers. So everything within this proposed TIF is located within the Village of Antioch. So this evening, we are looking for approval of a recommendation at the next board meeting to bring back 2 ordinances for the subdividing preliminary and final plat, and also for an annexation of these 2 small slivers. With that, I'll conclude my staff report.
Any questions? All right. Thank you. Keep moving that along. Next item number 4 is special use for an electronic message board to be located at Fire Station 1 at the property commonly known as 835 Holbeck Drive. Mr. Garrigan, and I know that Fire Chief Coke Fair is here.
Yes, thank you. As you all know, that all EMB signs do require a special use. As you all know, the applicant of Antioch Fire District is going through a major renovation of Fire Station 1. As part of those proposed renovation, they are proposing to replace their existing message board, which has seen better days. I don't even believe it's operational right now. They're proposing to basically replace that existing message board with a new EMB sign. The applicant is requesting a special use because all EMB signs obviously are required to be a special use. In addition, this proposed EMB sign would be 18 square feet, which would be a little larger than the 25% limitation. As you all know, EMB signs are limited to 25% of the total sign face. And therefore, they are requesting a variance from the village's EMB regulations. In addition, as part of this proposal, the applicant is proposing extensive landscaping around this new EMB sign. So there is additional substantial new landscaping that's being proposed in front of the proposed renovations of Station 1. The actual fire chief, Mr. Coke Fair, is actually here this evening to answer any questions. But again, the fire district's asking this evening for a special use for their new EMB sign, which will be used for important critical information and communication with the public as part of their renovations of their fire station. This is Station 1, and also variance to allow their sign to exceed the 25% limitation. So with that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. We're looking for this to direct us to, again, have draft an ordinance for the variance and special use to come back at the next meeting.
Thank you. Discussion over here. Trustee Pierce.
Just housekeeping here. They talk in here about it's going to be 19 square feet, then it's 18 square feet, and the request was for us to recommend approval of an 18 square.
It's 18 square feet.
Okay, so the 19 square feet in here is
must be a typo. Apologize.
a typo. Okay. All right.
That's it.
That's it.
Anything else? All right, we'll move it along. Thank you. All right, next is another special use, number 5, for an electronic message board to be located at the Antioch Community High School at the property commonly known as 1133 Main Street. Mr. Garrigan.
Again, the applicant, the Antioch Community High School, is coming before the village board this evening. As you know, they actually retrofitted their existing sign last year. At one time, they did have a message board. They worked with staff to replace that message board. But before that message board obviously is operational, they do require special use and more importantly, variance. As you all know, the applicant is asking for a variance. Let me walk you through. First, the special use is for an EMB sign. All, as I've already highlighted, all EMB signs in the village do require a special use. That is what's required for the special use. The applicant is requesting 2 variances. Specifically, they are asking for a variance because their current existing EMB sign, again, exceeds 25% of the overall sign face. The proposed sign face is approximately 39 square feet, which exceeds the 25% limitation. So the first relief that they're asking for is with regards to the existing sign, the size of the sign itself. The second request that they're asking for, as you know, the sign is currently operational, but currently I know there's been some issues or comments about the actual level of illumination, and high school has made it quite clear they'll work with us. They can actually lower the level of illumination, and we formally requested that. But in their lettering, as we speak, conforms with the village's ordinance, i.e. it's a white lettering on a black background. But they are seeking a variance. They are seeking a variance to have an opportunity to highlight 35 holidays throughout the year. The planning commission did not support that variance. They recommended denial. It was unanimous to allow the high school to basically have much more colored, very vibrant, bright illustrations on their EMB sign, which is not consistent with the village's EMB regulations. There was no support for that. The major concern is there's approximately a number of single-family residents, approximately 200 feet from this proposed EMB sign. The residents did complain and had concerns about the potential impact on their quiet enjoyment. If in fact there was support for this variance to allow these very vibrant, bright, seasonal holiday signs. So the planning commission did recommend approval of the variance allowing the excess 25% allowance. It did not support the variance for the 35 holiday signs. So with that, I know it's somewhat complicated, but I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. All right. We'll do some questions, but just to get because it's a 2-part thing. Can I just first see, I don't know how to do this properly without doing a vote, but support for the first regarding the size, right? It's the existing size, correct?
Yes.
20, okay. Is there any, talk about, I'm gonna let people discuss it, but because there's 2 variables to this, correct? Okay. So, all right, Scott, you go first, and then I'll kind of get a feel from the board.
On the first, where the planning and zoning approved the exceeding 25% because they're already built. I have no problems with that. I really don't. I do have problems, as mentioned, about the luminosity. And we've been talking to them for a year now since I started complaining on it, I think, and they still haven't toned it down. So I'm a little concerned on that, but I do like you have stipulations in here that require them to comply with the village engineer, comply with the fire district, and then the fourth stipulation is that they have it on at 7 a.m. and off at 7 p.m.
Which they have been doing. I've been totally advised that they agreed to do that. Yes.
Okay, so I've the first part I would accept with those stipulations, and the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. stipulation strictly enforced, and the luminosity.
What I can do is make sure that they address that fully before this comes back to the board.
Okay,
Make it quite clear before the board approves any ordinance, they will have to lower the current illumination level.
And just so I can be clear on why I have a problem with the luminosity is because I know people who suffer from migraines, and not only do car headlights trigger migraines, very bright white lights trigger the migraines also. So it's a health issue to me. It's not just because I want to be a pain in the butt to people.
And to move, just as a betting man, is there anybody on this board that supports these colorful pictures?
No.
I don't,
I love all the holidays.
Yeah,
You know,
okay,
My
all right.
office windows are
Okay.
obnoxious, but I will go along with the rest of the
Sure,
board.
okay.
I love the bright, the holiday.
I was just assuming that the second part was probably not going to be
I'm sure I'm not
very
the only
supportive, but
one.
we'll go around and let everybody say their piece on that.
Michael, I'm sorry if I missed something and if I repeat or asking you to repeat, I apologize. How did this get built if it was not within code in the first place?
I think the high school was a little premature in regards to installing the sign. The sign, to be fair to the high school, I think the sign was purchased some time ago. Staff advised them that they theoretically could not operate it until the special use approved. Obviously, they have been operating it, but I mean, they've tried to be with trustees Pierce's valid point. They've tried to conform with the ordinance, obviously with the white lettering and black background. They've tried to be sensitive. But you know, we've been trying to work with the high school. We understand what their need for communication, but we explained to them they had to come through the process for special use and had to come through the process for a variance. So in some ways, unfortunately, this is kind of after the fact.
Is this
But
better to ask for forgiveness than permission
I think
type of
that you can-
attitude or?
Yeah, you can summarize it as that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anything else on the signs? Anything else on the signs? Trustee Peterson?
So we've been talking to them about the illumination on the sign. Why have they not complied?
I think the person I've been communicating he's advised me he's had some challenges communicating with their technology department. So I've had to reiterate that, you know, there's been
So-
some lack of communication internally within the high school.
Okay, so that being said, do we have cause and effect here? Now, we told Anastasia's they were going to shut their sign off if they didn't comply, which they did. What's wrong with telling the high school you have to shut your sign off now?
I mean, we can advise them to shut it off until the special use is
No,
approved.
I'm not saying that,
Right.
but if they don't lower the illumination, you know, cars go by there. It does get me. I mean, when it flashes at you,
Right,
people have talked about that sign for a long time.
right.
They
So
just do what they want. I think that we should be tougher with this because we expect everybody else to comply. Just because they're the high school, they really need to comply.
no, I mean, that's a fair point. I'll be more than happy to have another frank discussion with the high school and make it quite clear that if it's not addressed, maybe we don't bring the ordinances back at the next meeting.
No, I know that, you know, they're the high school, but they can't do it.
Thank you.
One more quick. If this was another business in town and they violated our code in this fashion, what would be the penalty for that?
We'd probably tell them just to turn the sign off.
Okay. And or potentially
or
have to take it down and
citation,
rebuild it.
citation.
So I think you have some leverage to go back to them regarding the brightness
Right.
of this sign.
We have acted in good faith trying to work with them, but I mean, it should be a partnership.
I agree, but one side's not doing the partnering either. So we have to work both ways.
All right, so you could pass on the message, no pun intended. Next one is the number 6, door access controls for the open space development at Main Street and Orchard Street. Amy will be presenting this, I believe, correct? Yep. Better be able to figure out this technology or we're in trouble.
Right?
Right.
There it is.
Alright.
So part of the cafe project is the doors are being outfitted with the hardware for access controls. So what I bring forward tonight is the proposal for the actual access control system. We so far have this system implemented at the police department that came in front of the board for approval. And we have it implemented at Metro Station. So we would be adding on to this. It includes 8 doors, 2 of which would have the keypads that would allow us to assign temporary passcodes for possibly a delivery driver or any type of maintenance that might need to get done to allow entrance into the mechanical room and also into the server room. The other doors would have just the basic card readers that we can then program. We can set alerts on it. Also on all exterior doors would have vandal-proof covers on them, which is, I can show you that. It's the other tab. The first tab, nope, Jim, if you go up to the, yep. So those are the vandal-proof covers that would go over it. The card readers themselves are about the size of your cell phone. So they're not bad or anything. You know, they're not gonna change the aesthetics. There is alerting within the system, so we can have it so that after hours, if the restrooms or something is triggered, we can have those alerts and have PD response. We can have internal controls with those.
All right. Thank you. Questions? Trustee Pierce?
Just so I know how they operate.
Yes.
Are they programmed on a computer and then they operate on like a time, or like the blue ones, they have a separate access code for a vendor or something?
Correct.
But like all the yellow ones and stuff, can you remotely control them also?
Correct.
In case you need to do like an emergency lockdown or something?
Yes, so the server is at the police department. All remote locations can be controlled through that. If we lose connectivity to the police department, these controllers in the module that is there would save that last setting until we restore that connectivity. But it's also, we have an app on my phone that I can log in and I can unlock doors, lock doors. I have user access to assign temporary passcodes. It works great at the police department when we have other emergency services come in like MABUS to be able to assign them passcodes. So we can do that with vendors and then revoke it right afterwards.
So then the bathrooms, they would be programmed to like open up at 8 o'clock in the morning and close
Correct.
at 8 o'clock at night, or
Yes.
just theoretical times?
Yes. Yeah. At set times that we choose. The Metro is on it now and it's working very well there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on this one? Trustee Bluesart?
Touching on what Trustee Pierce said.
Yes.
Can someone get locked in there? Can they get out if they
Yes.
lock at a certain time and then?
Yes, you can leave. You just can't.
Can't get
It's not
back in.
Hotel California. You can leave. The controls would be to gain entry into the different locations.
All right.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Amy. Next one is an update on the park naming contest. Whatever you call it, anything but Village Green. This is Jim Moran. I heard somebody put something on Facebook and called it that.
What?
Somebody put something on Facebook, not related to the village.
We have a subdivision called Village
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah, it was like a aerial view or something. Yeah. All right, Mr. Moran.
Good evening, Mayor, Village Board, residents, esteemed colleagues. I'm here tonight to talk about our proposed new park naming process that I will present to you for your feedback. Our objective is to establish a new name for the open space redevelopment across the street at Main and Orchard. At the end of January, Administrator Gutchow had emailed members of the village board asking for some feedback. We heard from all of you some of the things that we heard, that you wanted resident input, and also you wanted the Parks Commission as part of this process. So the proposal we have for you, the Village of Antioch will solicit community feedback on a park name. We'll accept online submissions from village residents. The submissions will be evaluated and trimmed to a shorter list, and then residents will vote again on their choice of the finalists, and then ultimately you, the village board, has the final say. So I'll walk you through the process that we're proposing. So step one, the village will solicit residents to submit nominations online for a park name. Submissions will be required to meet the criteria established by the village, including the park's mission, historical value, and geographic location, so they could propose a name based on that criteria.
You got a clicker now?
Amy will help me with this.
Give the man a promotion and
So if we
what
could go
happened?
back one slide. So step 2 of the process, once all the nominations are collected through the online portal, they'll be turned over to the Parks Commission for review. So we'll have a period of time, people could go online, submit whatever the name they want that meets the criteria or doesn't meet it. Then the Parks Commission will vet all the names that came through. If we go to the next slide there, step 3, the Park Commission will then narrow the list down to their top 5 choices. We didn't want too many. We wanted to have, narrowing it down. We felt 5 choices was a good amount from all the names that were submitted. And then from there, the public will vote on those 5 choices, giving us step 5, the next slide. Top 5 names, including the top choice, will be presented to the village board for review. You guys will either accept the vote, accept the top vote getter as the name of the park. You could pick one of the other names of the top 5, or you could choose something else. It's up to your discretion. The board has the authority, again, to accept, reject, or make modifications to the name. So ultimately, it's your choice. So the next steps, I'll get your feedback tonight over the next couple days. If you go home, if you're like me, at 3 in the morning, you'll get an idea. Email me, call me tomorrow or Friday. So we could talk through this process. And then if that works, the mayor drafts a letter to the Parks Board asking them to move forward with the process. This is the timeline. It's kind of hard to read here. I'll email this to you guys also. So basically, starting next week, we can start taking the submissions online, go through the whole process, and by the May 8th meeting, have a name chosen.
Submissions online, it's on the village website.
It'll be through the village website. We have a online survey system, Polco, that we're able to use. So it allows people to have to register, requires people to have to register ahead of time. So we don't have 5 people voting over and over again for the same names or submitting the same names. So it kind of helps keep some integrity in the voting. But we'll promote it on social media, through press releases, that sort of thing.
You can only imagine the stuff that's going to be on Absolutely Antioch or Absolutely Antioch Unhinged. Yeah. So go for it this side. Yeah. Any questions or concerns about the process?
All residents, is it just residents or is it 60002? I know that was one of the questions.
So we chose residents based on your feedback. So again, the proposal tonight is based on the feedback that we got from you guys. So if I missed something,
How are you? I was wondering, how are you going to control that?
Well, through the Polco makes you register.
Okay.
So, and it goes against postal data and stuff
Okay.
like that. That's part of the advantage of using them as opposed to like SurveyMonkey.
Sure.
Which doesn't have that.
Okay. Any questions, concerns on the process? Sound good? All right.
Just to add something to the process that automatically eliminates any of the obvious,
Yeah.
vulgar or otherwise,
It-
are just joke entries.
That'll be something like with the Parks Commission as they
Yeah.
vet stuff, all that'll Parky McParkface, yeah, finalist.
All right. Thank you. All right. Glad to see that moving along. Next, another poll that was done on the village board, cafe building use and operations. Mark Searle.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight's discussion, or kind of just get thoughts going, is obviously you pulled all the current board. We had kind of a wide range, so I wanted to send it to you guys. I sent it to you email this morning to kind of understand where the vastness is right now. And so my goal is to hopefully have everybody see the response, and then from there see if we can come up with somewhat of a narrowed discussion, or kind of see what it looks like. I think it helps with you folks all being able to see what the other answers are and see if we can compromise. The goal is going to be right now it looks like leasing the building out, right? And so by doing that, we're gonna have to set up an RFP, and by doing the RFP, we're gonna have, we're gonna have to have constraints, and it's gonna be what our operational hours are gonna be, what our seasonal is gonna be. So that way we're getting applicants that are submitting based off of what your expectations are, right? So, yes.
No, I was saying, when we're saying with the RFP,
Mhm.
can we, when we come to a consensus on it, can we send it out with, the minimum requirements are X, Y, and Z? Because if they want to go above and beyond that,
Sure.
great. Yeah.
Sure. And at the end of the day, the goal is obviously going to be to kind of find somebody that's looking for the ballpark of what we're doing. And then once they apply, obviously there could be exceptions made to hours of operation like that, depending on what your expectations are. So tonight's discussion is just basically to have you see this again, have you see the results, and from there, maybe take a couple more days, maybe email me back again and just let me know, hey, we're looking at other options. Maybe this makes more sense, just so we can kind of get somewhat of more of a plan going forward.
Trina?
We had any, like, has there been any interest? Have we been approached by anybody in regards to wanting to?
Yeah, so we've had some businesses that are actually currently in town, right, that are brick and mortars right now that are interested in doing it. We've also had other businesses from the outside that are interested. Right now, they're kind of in a holding zone of, we're going to kind of see what the expectation is. Once we get that, then I'll notify all those people that we're going to submit that, and so the ones I've already spoken to, we'll send out the RFP invites, but we'll put it out in the public forum so that way they can submit if they choose to.
Other than the one I know of, has anybody submitted to you any concepts of what the items would be? I know that the one, actually a shop owner in town, brought myself and Jim Kaima a presentation. Did anybody else go that far yet?
Not yet, only because I think that the point of going into what their concept is and then understanding what the expectations are going to be, it could be very vastly different. Plus, understanding what the capabilities are in that building. Antioch Pizza reached out to me today about it. What are we going to do there? And so they have an idea what they want to do, but it could be very different than what the shop owner wanted.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I think it's the best case scenario right now is to understand what the expectations are, and then from there, we're gonna have. It sounds like there's gonna be some restaurants here in town that are interested. There's gonna be probably some from the outside as well, and maybe some that aren't even restaurants at all right now. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Trustee Berman.
Somebody had brought up that, I think at the last meeting, about there is not going to be a grease trap.
There is no
right?
grease trap. And there is no hood.
Okay.
So there'll be no open flame.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I know, like, I believe like Subway, I don't believe they have a grease trap, so that's more like the cold sandwiches.
Yeah.
There is some exceptions in town, like Tops or Taylor's on top, right? So they do sandwiches, they do like panini sandwiches, stuff like that, that doesn't require open flame. So there are a lot of options out there. So it's not that it has to be hot dog rollers and ice cream, right? There's going to be a lot of options out there. It's just somewhat creative of how that process is going to unfold. Yeah. Also, there is in the current budget right now, there is no equipment in that facility. So whatever that vendor is going to be that's coming in there is going to be responsible for bringing their own equipment in, stuff like that. So there is going to be substantial cost to that person going into that space.
All right.
I love the idea that the mayor mentioned of minimums in any type of request we put out there, because obviously we want to see this open. But I want to make sure that it's open during any special events that we have in town. And at a bare minimum, that has to be open at those events.
Sure.
Because the purpose of that is to draw people in and everything else. So if that's ever closed, if we have someone in there and they're closed when we have a special event going on in town, that defeats the whole purpose. So I want to.
The taste may have a fit at that.
Competition's good. But I like the way we're going. I hope we find someone that wants to take it over for the full season or the year, however you're going to break it down. If not, we need to have a backup plan if we can't find someone, so that is in operation, because I don't want to see it sitting there after we spend all that money and just have a vacant building. That's not going to be good either. So.
Pierce?
Well, I was just trying to respond to Brent there, and I did it rudely. the taste may have an objection to us being open during the taste. They want to draw people in and get as much income as they can get during that period, especially if we're limiting them on the carnival. So maybe a discussion want to include the chamber in. Other than that, my special request would be hot chocolate and chocolate chip cookies available at all times.
And maybe, I know, not to give any type of advantage, maybe anonymous, did not take any information off that presentation somebody gave us, and maybe, that'll maybe get the board to start thinking
Sure.
about, circulate what they turned in.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, good luck.
Okay. Next one.
Next one. Last item, discussion regarding the lighting upgrades at the William E. Brooke Entertainment Center.
Yeah, so I'm coming here today to start the process, or hopefully get the process started with doing the modifications that were a result of the study that was done in 2022. Is that right, Jim? From PMMG. So we had a company come in May of 2022 to assess the current situation of the speakers, the lighting, and go through essentially the whole band shell functionality wise. From the sound part of it, there's some give. We have probably maybe another year or two to work with the existing speakers and soundboards that we currently have. But one thing that was a big red flag was the lighting system that's currently being utilized in there is not designed to be outside. So it is a indoor facility usage, which I put in the packet. Their strong recommendation that it's removed because with any type of moisture out there, rain, like that, with the incandescent lights, it has the ability to be electrocuted, and there's certain dangers that come along with that, right? And so last year in the budget, there was a $40,000 budget item that was included in that budget that was approved by the board to make the modifications needed for the band shell. And so from that process, we looked at the lighting side of it. I got 2 quotes from 2 local people that have both done work in their community already with the band shell and using for the sound and lighting. The one, you can see that there's 2 different applicants or 2 different quotes. The one on the left, which is the blue box, that was the company that did our some of our auxiliary light and sound for the Rodney Atkins concert last year. They came in and did some work. So they are a local company. They gave us a bid. So when I presented what I needed for bid, I gave them the exact specs out of the PMM&G report, asking if this is what we need to go up to. And it's pretty basic stuff. It's nothing, we're not using moving lights or intelligent lights or anything like that. But so I gave them both apples to apples of what that spec sheet looked like. As you can see, the 2 quotes came back drastically different. One came in at $131,000. One came in at $29,000, and they are essentially for the same equipment. I contacted the first applicant and just said, I think there was a mistake because I'm looking at a number that's drastically different than the original or the secondary quote. And they said, this is what the going rate is for this type of equipment. The second applicant that has submitted a report is a vendor for the lighting company that was recommended by the independent study. And so we're getting a lot of savings costs or savings from the fact that he is a certified rep for that company. So in our bid on the second one, it was literally 10% over cost. He's a local guy. He's done a ton of work with the band shell in years past, and just wanted to gain work in our community. He does a bunch of other ones. He does Naperville's band shell, and a couple other ones in the area. So the references and stuff are there. So I wasn't concerned that it's a drastic number difference, that if it was 2 different, if we weren't apples to apples, but they are apples to apples in comparison. So, so after looking at the 2 quotes, again, the money was budgeted. There's a $40,000 budget for the 2023-24 budget that was put in and approved by the board for this replacement. With this cost coming in, there is currently a remaining balance of $33,152 in that account. Some money was used last year for new microphones and some PA equipment, but that's still, with the amount of money that's left over in the current budget for this year, after we take, if we were to utilize that second contract, it still leaves $4,052 left in the account for the remaining improvements that have been noted. Some of the backstage and areas, the bathroom in there, stuff like that. So there is still money. So it's not depleting that account totally, but it does. Again, it was what that money was intended for. So it's not something that I'm coming here asking for another 30,000. This was essentially approved, and I'm asking to be able to use the money approved for the updates.
All right, any discussion on this? Any concerns on this?
Just really quick.
Yeah, Trustee
Rouse.
Burke.
Is there any regular maintenance that we do on, like, I'm not really familiar with how,
The lighting and stuff, how it works. It's
or
really,
just the band shell as a whole?
I mean, it is overseen by the village, so they'll come in, they'll turn the water on, turn the water off. Right now, it's been winterized, so there is some simple maintenance to it for the most part. But with the equipment that's proposed, this is what it's designed for, and a lot of it's for outside usage, so there's not a whole lot of maintenance that's really needed. They do both come with 3-year warranties on the equipment, so that is fully done. The ability to replace the cans in the first one and also add a couple extra lights in there just for the stage presentation is in there as well. But
Any other questions? All right, thank you. That, yeah, last one. And I do want to say, forgot to say this earlier. I walked by the future Village Hall, and I want to thank Public Works for cleaning that property up. Go by, it looks much better. They took out all the shrubbery and ugly trees and stuff, so it's starting to look better. All right. I think I have a request for executive session for collective bargaining with no business to take place after executive session. So can I get a motion and a second to that regard?
I got a pizza in 20 minutes. It better be
All
quick.
right, all right.
So moved.
Motion Trustee Peterson,
Second.
second Trustee Berman. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we are going into executive session with no further business to take place. It's 8:17.